Alright, Shalom. I'd like to say Kahalayam Wahawadlah, Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai Ba'asham Rakakodash, Devil honors the apostles, and that as a great minister and rule well. Peace and blessings to the acrimony will that pushes through to the four corners of the earth. Right, as Brother Yarba here. I try to go through some quick precepts. I'll entitle it You will be tempted of the devil, but remain fervent. Right? I'll start with this one. It says 2 Timothy 4, I'll start from 1, right? It say, I charge thee therefore before the Most High. It say, and the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, which is the Messiah's name in Hebrew, right? Yahushua Mashiach, and the Most High's name in Hebrew is Yahweh, right? It say, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. It say, preach the word, be instant, in season, out of season. You understand? Like how you will see physically, will have men from other camps who does only go out at certain times. They just only go out when it's convenient to them. When the place started to get cold, like in certain areas like America, when it started to snow, they don't go out. But you see, even the apostles or GMS, they just still go out no matter what season it is. You understand? The words still had to be preached, right? This is what the scriptures say. And it have other means, whereas you'll see with yourself, sometimes you will be in a bad state. Sometimes you might be frustrated, you might be going through certain things, because the truth does play through a lot, right? You'll see that a lot of spirits has been plaguing you, trying to get you to go off, trying to get you to stop teaching the word, trying to get you to go back into the world, right? And these afflictions, the scriptures talk about the fiery trials. These afflictions must come, right? I believe that is I'll get a good example in Mark 4, somewhere around this. Right? Mark 4 verse 16, right? It say, and these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground. It say, who when they have heard the word immediately receive it with gladness. And we see more or less all versions of this Mark breakdown. Once in the truth long enough, you see all the versions of it. They receive the word with gladness. Yeah, but we're saying it's true, whatever and whatever. It say, and have no root in themselves, and so endure for but a time. It say, afterward, when affliction and persecution ariseth for the word's sake, which is the things that you'll go through. Sometimes it might be situations with family, it might be situations with finance, your job, it could be situation with your woman. It have sometimes even situations afflicted in the flesh. Certain sicknesses or illnesses, you realize you only start to get sick when you come into the truth. It had different ways that the Lord does actually plague you with these trials. We can't choose what trials we will have. It had different ways that He does do it, right? But these are things that you have to go through in the word. And these things is be to what? To try it, to see if you'll actually stick to it, even though things not very good with you. You might find before, when you was in the world, everything was nice, you was getting money normal. All of a sudden now you come into the truth, you realize you're struggling a little more than usual. And the Lord just providing what it is you really need, your necessities to actually get through or get by, when before you could have majority of your desires. Wherever you wanted, you could have just go and buy, but the Lord cut you off from all those things. And those things is be what? To try you, right? It say, afterward, when affliction and persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. And they does what? They just fall off. They just stop doing the work of the Lord. They just try to go back to that first state that they had. You understand? This not working out for me, to how I would like it to be. So they just want to go back to where it is they had before. But once you come in this truth, if you have understanding, you will know that it has no going back. Once you learn these things and you don't apply them, you will have to answer for them at some point. But that is what these things do. They just distract you to actually stop you from doing the work. And it has come in many forms. It has come in the forms of your family might get you trouble. It might come in the form of financial, problems, whatever the case may be. But as I ever say, that is used. It has something. It have a big difference between a good person and a person who just acting like if they're good. You understand? Like you'll see these Christians. They just turn to the Lord in a strong way. Why? Because they're looking for what they could benefit from it. They're looking for riches. They're looking for, whatever it is they could get. Whereas the true men of the Lord, the true followers of the Lord on the whole, because they are the one or two sincere women also. The true followers of the Lord, they just do what the Lord say, whether they have plenty or they have a little. Whether they're in a good state or whether they're in a bad state. Whether they're happy or whether they're sad. Why? Because they understand the seriousness of it. And as a saying idols use, you just never know what kind of person a person really is unless they get upset or unless they're not happy. Because that is, if a person could be obedient while being sad, then you know what a person's character is like. Whereas if the person only obedient when they're happy, and the minute they get upset, you had to question them, then that person not really as good as you might think, or not really as good as even they might think. And that is what these afflictions for. These afflictions to try you. The Lord used to do this with us even when we was in the wilderness, right? It said Deuteronomy 8 verse 2, it say, and thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. You understand? And he made them go through a lot of harsh things. But through that, it was shown who was really the followers and who was just the ones who was just chipping along for the ride. But if you're not really a sincere follower of the Lord, as soon as any kind of hardship or affliction hits you, you're going to stop do the will of the Lord. Why? Because it's no longer convenient for you anymore. And these are stumbling blocks that you just had to look at. But these are stumbling blocks that the elect will overcome. So you always had a fervent. You always had to keep doing the will of the Lord, no matter where it is you might have to go through, because these things must happen. You must be tried. You had to go through shit. The scriptures say, through much tribulation we shall enter into the kingdom. I'll get our scripture quick. That is Acts, I think it's 14:22. Yes, Acts 14:22. It says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Most High. So there is not something that you will just skip going into. You understand? It would have a lot of hardship you had to go through to try you and all these different things, but these are things that you have to overcome. Right? I'll read it over. It says, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering. With all long suffering and doctrine. Right? So you always have to be spiritually mindful of these things. Whenever you see hardship hitting you, whenever you see people rising up against you and they have no good reason to be doing so, all of these are just part of the trials. But if you stop doing what you're supposed to do because of that, then you'll fail. You always have to be mindful of these things. It says Matthew 4, right? Matthew 4, I'll start from 1. It say, then was Mashiach led up of the Spirit into the wilderness. So the Spirit lead him into the wilderness. It said to be tempted of the devil. Right? So he was also tempted. It's not to say like we special, that we just had to be tempted by these spirits constantly jumping on people around us to try to gain we head or to frustrate we or whatever it is they might want to do to us. We's not the only ones who just had to go through this. All the other followers of the Lord just had to go through it, and even Mashiach had to go through it. You understand? We're not special, but we know all of these things is what we had to overcome. They're just our tests. Right? So verse 2 is say, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterwards an hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. Right? So it was tempting him to do things that he wasn't really supposed to be doing. Right? It doesn't say like he couldn't turn stone into bread, but it was trying to make him go contrary in opposition to the Most High. And that is a good example of what these spirits out here that's trying to cause us to do. Because when they're actually being on us for doing the right thing and for saying the right thing, you understand that it's put you in a state of mind where you mightn't feel to be reading, or you mightn't feel to be watching videos and all of these different things. You understand? It's try to put you in that state of mind to actually separate you from the Lord. Right? It say, command that these stones be made bread. It say, but he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. I guess one thing I'll give my Lord had some real kind of answers he used to give. Yeah, sure, it used to frustrate Jake a lot. They really used to wanted to kill him for his comments. Verse 5, it said, then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and setteth him up on a pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, right, of the Most High, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou shalt dash thy foot against the stones. I believe that precept in Psalms 91. So even the devil was quoting scriptures to try to get him to do things contrary to how he's supposed to be. Right? I ain't gonna go through the whole thing, a person could always read it. But it's just the mere fact of the example that you would be tempted. Just like how he was tempted to be contrary to not do what he was supposed to do. He didn't sit down and mope. It's true you'll have your days where 1 or 2 days you might be kind of sad, because you're going through certain things and you're a little frustrated, but at the end of the day, you still had a job to do. Even Mashiach's walk was much more difficult than ours. But at the same time, he didn't sit down and mope for weeks upon weeks and say, oh gosh, I frustrated, yes, I can't do this no more. No, he knew that he still had a job to do. No matter what he was going through in the process, he knew that he still had a job to do. He was still fervent. You understand? No matter what time it was, or no matter what situation he was going through, he understood that he still had a job to do. And that is the mindset you already had to be in. You had to be in that mindset to do what you're supposed to do, even if it might not always be in the best circumstances for yourself. You understand? And like I said, that would have separated the true followers of the Lord from these Christians. Anytime shit not going Christians' way, they out. They not for that. You understand? The Lord killed Ezekiel's wife. You understand? He tell Ezekiel, hey, by tomorrow she's going to be gone. He couldn't say, well, I sad now, yes, I depressed, I not going. And he still had to go and preach. Let him go and see what happened. He still had a job to do, despite how he was feeling and what he was going through. And Ezekiel had a tough walk, but he still had to digress. He still had to do what he had to do, despite what. And that's the mindset you just had to be in. You understand? And these are the people that we just had to look at for examples, because despite how you might feel or what you might be going through personally, the Lord charged you with a job. And if you don't do your job, how you feel or situations you're going through, you can't use that as an alibi to escape the destruction that is to come. You understand? You had to always move forward from those things, and always try to remember that you have a job to do. Anyway, I hope it was edifying. With that, I say shalom.